Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of the War Room. My name is Luke, and today we have a 2-round post-Senior Bowl NFL mock draft. Senior Bowl happened last week. The practice is the game on Saturday. Here's a much better idea of some of these prospects, and it's going to be 2 rounds because most of the Senior Bowl guys are in the second round. It gives it a chance to spotlight those guys. And let's get started with Fernando Mendoza being the number 1 overall pick. It's obvious, it's boring, and I think more because of that, and there's no debate of who's the number 1 overall pick. It's been Fernando Mendoza being compared to previous NFL draft prospects. And when you're putting him against a guy like a Caleb Williams or a Drake May or a Trevor Lawrence, that's a battle Fernando Mendoza is going to lose because he is not like that type of generational talent, but he is a good draft prospect. I do like Fernando Mendoza. I think he is worthy of the number 1 overall pick. And then the Jets. I think it's one of the 3, Reese, Bailey, or Bain, and I switch it up all the time. But right now, I kind of like having David Bailey here. As pull up his PFF, you can see I don't have PFS Plus because that's expensive. David Bailey, he's such a really good pass rusher last year at Stanford, or 2 seasons ago at Stanford, and then last season at Texas Tech. 23 sacks in total, 15 last year, led the country. He's the best pass rusher, maybe not best pass rusher, but best at getting after the passer in this entire draft. He has his faults in the run game, which is why he's not the consensus number 2 pick. But he's going to test well. I'm really interested to see the Jets at number 2. I think this is kind of one of the most fun top 3 debates we've had in a little bit. Then the Cardinals. This is kind of a planned mock draft, but I like doing it live and thinking about it and talking through it. I am going to go Fano here. You, a couple years ago, draft Paris Johnson to be your franchise left tackle. I don't want to say you're starting a rebuild now, but you're definitely starting a new era post Kyler Murray. But besides that 1 year, a couple years ago, where you started off 7-0, you have been in a rebuild for a little bit now. But it is a shift. There's definitely a shift in Arizona. New coach, new quarterback. You're not getting your franchise quarterback here unless they sign Malik Willis and he just becomes everything that he could have been. So whoever the quarterback is, whoever your future quarterback is going to be, it'll always be nice to have your franchise tackles figured out with Paris Johnson and now Spencer Fano on the right side. Then the Titans. They can go receiver here. The receiving core it was okay enough. But Calvin Ridley's hurt the whole year, and then you have Io Manor, and you have, who am I missing? Chimere Dige. So Tate, Tyson could definitely be options, but also they pick at the top of the second round. I could think a receiver option could be better there. I'd rather take Reese or Bain. They can really build, with Bain, they can build such a really good defensive line. I'm going to take Arvell Reese here. It's either one, but I'm going to go with Reese, just help build up that defense. 5, the Giants. Every time I am a Giants fan, I have had Carnell, Tate, Jordyn, Tyson the entire way. And I know Francis Mauigoa is an option. I'll talk about that in a second. But I'm leaning towards picking Caleb Downs here more and more. I know positional value, but just having a guy like that, he's probably the best or second best prospect that's in the entire draft, and you kind of, I think, have to screw positional value at that point. I'm not going to pick Downs, even though I talked about him. The whole Jermaine and Luminor situation and just his pending free agency really matters here. If they don't sign him back and they go and spend money on a receiver or spend on their defense, then right tackle becomes a gaping hole, and that's where Fano could come in. That's where Mauigoa could come in. I'm going to operate like they would sign a Luminor back. I don't think you really, when I know it's new coaching staff, new everything. Well, not new everything, just new coaching staff. Just historically, the Giants have struggled so much over the past, feels like forever, with their offensive line, and you finally have a solid one. I wouldn't want to lose your starting right tackle. So yeah, I'm going to go receiver. I am going to go Cardinal Tate here. Malik Neighbors, hopefully, will be coming back in full. Apparently, the ACL is much worse than an ACL. So we'll see with that. Cardinal Tate, I love more of a complementary wide receiver 2. He was never the wide receiver 1 at Ohio State. Hard to be with Jeremiah Smith and Ohio State receivers just in general his entire career there. But here, he's being drafted as a wide receiver 2. He's going to be asked to run block more, which he can do with his size, and he could be a wide receiver 1 if Neighbors struggles coming back. Cleveland, I'm going to go with Jordyn Tyson. Their receiving core sucks. It's really bad. It's Bond, it's Cedric Tillman, and it is Jerry Jeudy. Jordyn Tyson, the upside you can have, he is a true wide receiver 1. A true wide receiver 1. It's the injuries are terrible. It's awful. It's one of the ACL, collarbone, shoulder, whatever it is. He's never on the field for Arizona State. Combine's coming up in a few weeks. He's going to get medical tested where you're going to learn a lot more about Jordyn Tyson than whether he's the top 10 pick that he should be or if he's even a first-round pick. Washington, with Bain falling here, he could fall here. I don't want to say I don't think there's any world that he could fall here, but Bain falling to 7, he's a game record, but it's just the arm length. I know it's nauseum when these guys have arm length issues. It's the only thing you hear about, but it is important. And it could slip him a little bit in the draft. I don't think he falls too far. He could still be the second overall pick in the NFL draft, but he falls to 7 here. Saints. There's options here. There's Lemon. I think Mauigoa is an option. I think Caleb Downs is an option. Kind of thinking Mauigoa, but you invest in your offensive line, both your starting tackles over the past couple of seasons, first rounds even. So do you really want to go offensive line again? And you draft Mauigoa for guard here for sure. Do you really want to spend a top 10 pick on a guard? It's not the worst thing in the world, especially with a need, and you now have your franchise quarterback presumably. Wide receiver outside of Chris Olave, you definitely could use help in that room. Jeremiah Love is fun, but Kamara still has a little bit left in the tank for sure. So do you really need that? No. I'm going to go with Makai Lemon here. Makai Lemon I really like as a prospect. I know we haven't really sat here and talked about all of these guys, more talking fits and everything, just because of it's 2 rounds. I don't want to talk too much into it and have like an hour-long mock draft. But Lemon, I meant his ability as a route runner to find holes in the zone. He's such a smart route runner. 5'10", what is he? It's 195, right, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 5'9", 5'11", 195. He's not the most explosive guy, but he knows how to get open. He catches the football. You get an option for Tyler Shuck. You give him every opportunity you can because he flashed as, I was going to say he won Rookie of the Year, but he won the fan vote Rookie of the Year. Actually, I'm recording this like Myles Garrett just won Defensive Player of the Year. I don't watch the NFL honors. It's not that fun of a watch. I'll get the Twitter notifications. So maybe Tyler Shuck is Rookie of the Year at this point. Maybe he's not. But give him all the help you can. See if he's your franchise quarterback. And the Chiefs. This is the flashy pick. Jeremiah Love going to the Chiefs that's the one that would be talked about the most in this draft, just because you're pairing Patrick Mahomes with one of the better running back prospects we've had this decade. Him, Genty, Hampton, and Bijan Robinson are your Mount Rushmore, unless I'm completely forgetting somebody. Or you can go a little bit of a more, I don't want to say even a need, but probably just a more helpful pick in Peter Woods. I never have Jeremiah Love going to the Chiefs. I usually have him going to the Saints or falling a little bit past him to like Dallas or something. But I'm going to do it here. They need help at running back. Pacheco, after injuries, has kind of just completely fallen off a cliff over the past couple seasons. And they really don't have a lot in that room. And with Mahomes, who knows if he even plays next season. So Jeremiah Love, maybe he can stable the ship a little bit until Mahomes comes back, because as soon as Patrick Mahomes comes back, you'd like to be in the Super Bowl or like to be in the playoffs hunt so you can recover from that and make a Super Bowl and have a second lost season. And then Cincinnati, I would love Sonny Styles there. Anyway, Caleb Downs, it's the most obvious pick. If Caleb Downs falls to the Bengals, I feel like they have to take him unless one of the edge rushers is there, which they won't. One of the better safety prospects you've seen, there's a big debate on Twitter. I don't know if anybody saw that with Kyle Hamilton and Caleb Downs, and then people bringing, like, Kyle Hamilton is the best safety prospects of all time. I don't want to get into that, but Caleb Downs is in the conversation for one of the best safeties in college football over the past 25 plus years. He's so instinctive, such a smart player, rarely outside of the wrong place. And Bengals just need somebody like that on defense. They can use everything on defense. But a true captain of the defense, a true leader of the defense, somebody to get that entire unit right. In Miami, with Lemon gone, I think that kind of takes out wide receiver, and I really think that just focuses on corner. Well, I guess Mauigoa is guard. You go Mansour Lane. He was good at Virginia Tech, but then when he transfers to LSU, he becomes the best cornerback in the SEC. And Dolphins, they're maybe not rebuilding again, but a new era, new quarterback. This has nothing to do with the quarterback position. I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. But you get Mansour Lane to be a true CB1 there. Dallas, this got to be the dream pick if you're Dallas to get Sonny Styles. Former 5-star plus, 6 as a safety, 6'5", 243. That's dream safety to me. But he moves like a safety. I still don't know this stat on PFF every time I see it because I'm still pretty sure, and I probably should just research it, that Sonny Styles had 0 missed tackles until the Cotton Bowl when he missed one versus Mark Fletcher, meaning he had 1 this season. So if it's 1 or 2, the guy just doesn't miss tackles. Or at least he didn't miss tackles this season. The size, the athleticism is rare for a linebacker. He probably goes early for this just because he's a hell of a player. But linebacker flex or positional value falls a little bit here. I think this is going to be I want to talk through this. Jermod McCoy or Francis Mauigoa. Rob Havenstein is a free agent. You're going to need a right tackle, most likely. But corner is also a big need. So Jermod McCoy, his 2020, if you copy and paste his 2024 to 2025 and he doesn't tear his ACL, he's a top 5 pick. 100%. Tearing an ACL is scary, but apparently he's healthy. Excuse me. Apparently he practiced over the course of November at Tennessee, but they just didn't want to rush him out with Tennessee being out of the playoffs. And with his draft stock, they just didn't want to risk that. So he presumably should be healthy for at least pro day. Maybe he doesn't participate in combine or drills or certain things. I doubt he would do any athletic testing like 40 or any of that. So if he's healthy enough to be drafted, or not to be drafted, obviously he's healthy to be drafted. If he's healthy enough to play week 1, which I think he definitely will be, or even if he's healthy enough for training camp, which again I think he will be, that his stock should be at least decently high. And then Mauigoa probably does profile better as a guard, but he definitely has the ability to play tackle in this league, and they need a right tackle. And corner, I know who I'm going to pick, because the cornerback class, even though there is some good right tackles at the back end of the draft, like maybe Blake Miller or Max Yanashore, and back end of the first round, that I like the corners at the back end of the first round more. So I'm going to take Francis Mauigoa here. Next for the Ravens, which is actually where I was going to have Mauigoa in the first place to play guard. So now we got to think, well, no, actually I don't, because Peter Woods is here. Justin Madubuike has a neck injury that keeps him out the whole season, which he just tweeted recently that good news. So maybe that defensive tackle isn't that much of a need. But a neck injury in football is scary. And Peter Woods is a super talented player. So it's just, obviously the Ravens know a lot more than we do if defensive line is an issue. But with Peter Woods being here at 14, I just think that's a great pick. And obviously I do because I made it. Tampa Bay. Who do I want to go for the Buccaneers here? I'm thinking edge. Kayden's probably coming back, even though I think Sadiq would be pretty sick. But they just drafted Ibuka. How many more weapons do they want? So I'm thinking edge rusher. I'm not a huge fan of Cashius Howell. I mean, he's so tiny. 6'2", 248. He's really small. Yeah, I mean, the production as an edge rusher is there. He can really get after the passer, but... And then Keldric Faulk, size is there, but he can't get after the passer. He really lacks production there, but he's a good run defender. And then TJ Parker, who production wasn't there, but the talent is there. The size is certainly there. And you could just blame it on Clemson. And then he doesn't lack the ability to get after the passer like Faulk does, and he has the size that Cashius Howell doesn't. So we'll have the struggling Clemson defensive linemen go back-to-back here. The Jets, who we took David Bailey, would love receiver for them at this point. I think your dream spot would be Makai Lemon, but he goes way earlier. And the Jets can use a lot. They can use a lot of different things. And I have two guys on my mind. It is Kayden McDonald or it is Jermod McCoy. And the Jets, you get this from Sauce Gardner. So do you want to, let's trade your cornerback one for who you think or you would hope to be your future cornerback one in Jermod McCoy, who we touched on a little bit earlier. The Lions at number 17 could be edge, could be tackle. Lomu's definitely, both of these, Lomu and Proctor are options. I would really want Proctor for guard, though. They could use, their secondaries really hurt last year. They could definitely use an option at corner. But I'm not a big fan of Avieon Terrell. Just I think he's undersized. And then I don't want to say the fall off is like huge, but like none of these guys I'm very confident at taking at 17, except maybe Colin Hood. And even then, that's a stretch. And then it's edge rusher. I'll take a shot at Faulk. Just if you can develop him as a pass rusher, he's already a polished run defender. He's going to come into the NFL and be able to do that. And with the size that you would really like. Vikings at 18. I always like doing this. I like getting Caleb Banks here. They have a really old interior. I know they spent a lot of money on it recently. And Caleb Banks injured the whole year. Comes back to final 3 games, but he plays well in those final 3 games. And then he goes to the Senior Bowl, and he plays well there as well. So you do... It's not like injury concerns, but I think you can almost put that injury behind you. I know he doesn't have a lot of tape in 2025, but when he played, he was good, and he has so much potential. His draft stock started out as like a projected top 10 pick, completely fell closer into the second round, but he rose it back up, and I think he probably will definitely be a first-round pick, and he's have a shot to go closer to where we thought he would in the beginning of the season. Panthers, linebackers certainly a need. Interiors a need. I think Kenyon Sadiq would be pretty sick here. But they did try to do that with Ja'Tavion Sanders, even though Sadiq is a better prospect. But I'm going to go with and try to help the interior and go Kayden McDonald here. His ability to just stop the run is pretty incredible. He's a wall. And the Panthers will go and add to their defense here. Dallas at 20. Who did we go with? We went Styles. If George Pickens doesn't sign back, I can see this being a wide receiver, but I guess he would, or I'm guessing he would. Really seems just like edge rusher. The only guy I would want to take here at 20 would be Cashius Howell, so that's what I'm going to do. And him and Ezeraku, though, that's a little too... I mean, Ezeraku's long, though. He's not tall. He's not big, but he's long. Ezeraku definitely had a length, but that is 2 smaller edge rushers. So maybe Cashius Howell wasn't the best pick, but they already made it. So, Steelers at 21. Receiver, Ty Simpson. Rodgers isn't coming back. I can really do see this I can really see this being the number one Malik Willis team, though. So I am going to go receiver here, maybe quarterback in the second round. I'm going to go Casey's Concepcion. Calvin Austin's a free agent if they don't sign him back, and even if you do sign back Calvin Austin, Casey is a much better player. At NC State, he was used more as a gadget guy. He had some absurd amount of carries. I think it was 41 carries. I think he threw a touchdown, too. They just tried to, NC State, they just tried to get him the football anyway. And then he goes to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M says, you know what, we're playing you as a real receiver. Played in the slot, he played out wide. You can see here more snaps out wide than in the slot, even at his size. And it worked. He turned into one of the better receivers in college football. Do I like him more of a slot guy with that size? Of course. But just his explosiveness as a returner, his explosiveness after the catch, it's something that the Steelers can really use alongside TK Metcalf as a compliment. Chargers, easiest pick. It's Vega Ione. They need help in the interior so badly. You really hope, just for Justin Herbert's sake, that Joel and Rashawn Slater are healthy next year. So you really do need to beef up that interior, though. Ione, one of the better pass rushers, definitely the best pass rushing guard in this draft. I can't see the PFF grade, but he has something like a 90 PFF grade, pass block grade. So that Chargers, if they don't go interior with their first pick, they'd be pretty shocked. And then the Eagles. Goddard's a free agent. I assume they would try to sign back Goddard, but I don't even know if they can afford him. They could use guard. They could use a third corner. I'm going to go Sadiq, though. He's a special athlete. If you've seen Kenyon Sadiq, if you've seen pictures, the dude's jacked. He's huge. And I really can't wait to see what Kenyon Sadiq tries. I assume he would. It's just more my question is, why wasn't he given the football more in Oregon? What was his targets? 67 targets, 51 catches, 560 yards. That type of player needs the ball more. It's not like, they had Decorian Moore, Gary Bryant. It's not like the most amazing Oregon receiving core that Kenyon Sadiq would get lost in there. He is a featured target, or should be more of a featured target. I don't know. Guess this was what Oregon wanted to do with things, but it's just a lack of production is a little concerning. Cleveland, let's go tackle. You don't go tackle first round, you gotta go, or tackle guards, you gotta go offensive line. I'm gonna go with Caleb Lomu here. Next, the Bears. Interior's in need, but we kind of took most of the interior that you would want, and you really hope that Proctor or Banks fell to you. As someone just, I don't even know, dropped an anvil above me. So, Christian Miller, maybe. Lee Hunter would be interesting. He had a great Senior Bowl. He didn't even play in the game. His practices were good enough. What else could be in need? Safety. McNeil-Warren could definitely go around this range. Linebacker says it's a need. I actually don't know what I want to do here. He's a guy I'm looking at right now, but I don't know. I gotta make a pick here. Time's coming up. Anybody here I want? No. I'm gonna go with Lee Hunter. Do I think he goes maybe a little... I don't want to say overreaction for the Senior Bowl, but do I think he's a first-round pick still? Maybe. But interior is their number one need, and with the way he performed as a Senior Bowl, I think this... In a Senior Bowl mock draft, let's spotlight Lee Hunter. Bills will go with Denzel Boston. They need everything. They need so much help at receiver. Josh Palmer's signing didn't work out. Keon Coleman thought he was going to be released at this point. Could very well be off the team by the time the draft starts. Denzel Boston, 6'4", 209, can go up and get it with the best of them. He's a pretty good route runner for his size, too. Just Bills need anything. They need to draft the number one receiver that's available, and that's definitely Denzel Boston. Niners guard, who's Pregnon's available. Could be Emmanuel Pregnon. It could be edge. They could go a little older edge and go with Keem Messidor. I'm going to go with safety, though. I'm going to get Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in the first round. I mean, just look at the grades. I know he had a really good grade in this season. 2024, that would be called. And 91.9 PFF grade. He's a hell of a player, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. And first round hype is starting to come there to be the first G. This is the first G5 player off the board, right? What a world. At number 27. And then Texans, you need Tate, who's oh my god, what am I blanking on his name? Oh, I'm gonna kill him. Trent Brown. Jesus. Trent Brown is a free agent. Be a need. Everywhere on the offensive line is going to be a need. They have 2 second-round picks, third-round pick. I could see 3 of them being offensive linemen. But in terms of how I would rate them, I would have Emmanuel Pregnon as my number 1 rated offensive lineman here. So I'm going to have him going 28 to the Texans. And then we go with, for the Rams, we went with Mauigoa. We went with tackle, so this one would be a corner. I love Keith Abney. I think Keith Abney's really good. I actually think he's better than Terrell. And so what corner would that be? Third? Fourth? I think third. I'm going to go with Keith Abney here. Broncos, you need linebacker. Tight end is not an option here. Linebacker, we can go C.J. Allen here. What's a sneak? Receiver is a sneaky need. But, I mean, I like Elijah Surratt. I think he's talented enough to go to the first round. I wouldn't really want him for the Broncos, neither with definitely not Chris Bell post-injury or Omar Cooper maybe, but I'm going to ignore receiver for now. Running back, certainly not. Center, there's no center that I would draft here. It's a sneaky one. Interior. Corner is a sneaky need, actually. Riley Moss is a free agent, not this year, but next year. I know you drafted Jahdae Barron. You drafted him to be in the slot. So do you want to get ahead of corner? And then obviously you have Pat Surtain. I wouldn't go Terrell. You would want somebody bigger. Thinking. I'm talked myself into taking corner. It's Cisse or Hood. I'm going to go Hood. I'm going to go Colin Hood here. No, a little bit surprising pick. This is more of a get-ahead pick. He'll be your 4th corner right now. I know you drafted corner first round, but you weren't really drafting Jahdae Barron to necessarily replace Riley Moss. So you can have your future cornerback trio be Pat Surtain, Colin Hood, and Jahdae Barron. Patriots at 31. Tackle is a need, right tackle. Morgan Moses is 150 years old, it seems like. Left tackle can be a need. Will Campbell, who knows how long he lasts as a left tackle in this league. So that's definitely an option. Who are the tackles available? Proctor I don't view as a tackle. We'll talk about Proctor. Freeling could be an option here. Ihanator I love. You know, if we're talking about Senior Bowl guys, maybe the guy who had the best Senior Bowl is Maxi Ihanator. He dominated the Senior Bowl. He was already a stock-up guy, rises it way more. I think he's definitely has a shot to go in the first round now. So we're going to have him go and play right tackle for the Patriots. Again, maybe, I don't know if Morgan Moses playing this year? I can't look up anything. Because then it will close the tab and it'll look weird. Figure that out one day. And then the Seahawks. Interior is still an option. I know they just invested heavily in Gray Zabel. I take him in the first round, but interior is an option. Would really just only think about maybe Santos, but first round's a little less rich. Maybe Proctor to be a guard, corner. Think about Terrell, or maybe edge rusher, but edge rusher seems more like I think they fill in the second or third round type of need. I'll draft a guard. I'm going to take Kayden Proctor to play guard. And they've had injuries to tackles. Kayden Proctor played tackle all 3 years at Alabama. It's just, he just doesn't move very well, which, he's huge, so you could ignore that. But he's also not very powerful either. I'm not a huge fan at Kayden Proctor at tackle. Seems to move better as a tight end, which, they took Elijah Arroyo, but that could be your backup tight end, Kayden Proctor, but for him, we'll have him at guard, and if they need help at tackle, he could play tackle. So let's get into the second round, and we drafted, who do we take for the Jets? David Bailey and Colin Hood. David Bailey and Jermod McCoy. Receiver. Now, let's be honest. Trinidad Chambliss being denied. I wasn't treating him like he was in this draft, but I am. And no, it's not Trinidad Chambliss, but I think this is going to push Ty Simpson up the board maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to go Ty Simpson. I think he sneaks into the first round. I don't love it, but I think starting at this, where does the Ty Simpson start? The Jets at 16. Then the Steelers can be an option. Who else? The Browns at 24 an option. So there are definitely teams that could be taking Ty Simpson in the first round, or really the main thing would be the Cardinals or the Jets trading back into the first round, like what happened with Jackson Dart last year. So you're drafting Ty Simpson. You're hoping for first 5 or 6 games, 7 games of the season Ty Simpson, where he was playing like the number 1 overall pick, and then those last few games, especially the last 5 games leading up to the SEC championship game, that second half of the year was brutal. Especially his numbers against blitz or against pressure were terrible. He didn't look like a draftable player. That's a little harsh. But then the Oklahoma game, he picked it back up again, and then the Indiana game was also a disaster class. So it's a really interesting season for Ty Simpson, but with Dante Moore going back to school, he is quarterback too. So his range is, I don't think he falls past the early second round. I don't think he falls past either of these two. So I guess, especially with the Jets, do you have 2 second-round picks? Pretty sure you do. Yeah, you do. I don't even know. I'm questioning that. I knew the answer to that. Yes, you have 2 second-round picks. You have 2 first-round picks. Might as well just take a swing at a quarterback with one of the last 3 of them. Then for the Cardinals, we went Fano. Who do I want to go with? No, I see running backs that he don't now. Could go with guard. We did just go with tackle. Do we want to double up? Or do we want to just go BPA on a guy too? I've left Mesidor on the board. I don't like having Mesidor outside of the first round at this point just because he's a hell of a player, but the age, it could possibly happen. It's an interesting pick, actually. You've not corner. You got Grant Williams. You just drafted Max Melton high. I'm going to go receiver here because I don't like that room a lot. I know towards Greg George had a good season. And Marvin Harris. Now I've convinced. I'm going guard. I'm going to go guard. Convince myself out of everything. I'm going to go guard. I'm going to go with Jennings Dunker to play guard. I'm acting like the Cardinals don't have any needs, but they have tons of needs. So they really could have got any of those options, but we're going to double up on offensive line here. Then the Titans at 35. I do really want to go receiver here. We faded that last round. But who do I want to go? Surratt. I do really like Elijah Surratt. Chris Bell. Who knows with his ACL, a recently torn ACL, he's definitely not going to be ready for the start of the season. Jeremy Bernard. That's rich for my blood at 35. Any other options? We could go offensive line. That's never a terrible option. Not Connor. I want to go Connor Lew here with his ACL. Slaughter here. Maybe Basantis. Corner. Huge voice crack. Yeah, Terrell fell. I think you're going BTA. You're going BPA here and just going Avieon Terrell. And that sets up for the Raiders to take one of Mendoza's teammates is who I want to go with. I'm going to go with Surratt. He's not an elite separator, but which may be a little ironic with his nickname. But he's a super smart receiver. If his quarterback needs help, he knows how to get himself open. He knows how to come back towards the football. And he knows he can catch the strong hands, contested catch ability. And it's always nice. You bring in Fernando Mendoza, and you need help at receiver. You do need help on the offensive line, but at least getting him a familiar target will be very nice. Then the Giants always go Jennings Dunker, and I picked them, and that's why I was upset. So we go receiver here. I think I'm going to go corner. I don't like any of the interior guys besides Basantas. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going Chase Basantas here to play right guard. I know Marcus Bowe showed some things you liked. You have John Runyon, who you paid a good amount. It's not stopping me from taking interior for the Giants. Texans at 38. We're going to continue to hammer down this offensive line. This time I want to take tackle. I'm going to take right tackle. I'm going to take Blake Miller here to play right tackle. So double dip on offensive line with the first two picks. You get Pregnon, you get Blake Miller. That is a nice little offensive line class for the Texans. Both should start instantly too. Browns at 39. This could also be an offensive lineman again. They need so much help on that offense. So we drafted Lomu as one tackle. How about we draft Monroe Freeling as another? So you spend 3 top 40 picks on receiver and 2 tackles. Build up that offense for whoever the starting quarterback's going to be. If it's Gabriel. It's going to be Gabriel, if Sanders, free agent, Watson, who knows? They have infinite options at QB. But they should have a decent time with new weapons and new tackles. Chiefs at 40, we went with Jeremiyah Love at pick 9. Receiver, Chris Bell would be pretty fun. Amar Cooper. I think tackle's fine enough. Guard, just nobody to play guard here. Interior, didn't draft Peter Woods at pick 9. We go interior here. What else did I want to look at? There was a position I wanted to look at and I forgot. Oh, it was this one. With Kelsey's potential retirement, he hasn't shown any. There's been some indication, but I think Travis Kelsey's staying. But even then, let's get ahead of the tight end things and let's get Max Clare. If anybody develop a tight end, it'll be the Chiefs. You're hoping you get Purdue, Max Clare, because he really wasn't productive. I mean, like half of this, not half of it, like 100+ yards and a TD of this were against Rutgers. Like he was not very productive this season. So you're really hoping you could get Purdue, Max Clare, and if there's anybody to unlock that, it's the Chiefs. 41, the Bengals. We're going to continue to go defense, and Christian Miller is sitting right here. Definitely is a little bit of a slide for him. Go and help the interior, help safety, just continue to hammer down that defense. Saints, we went with Lemon. We did go with Makai Lemon. I'm almost shocked. He made the pick. So receiver, definitely not a need anymore. Guard is still a need, but we said nobody. I'm not Rutledge, Stevenson, any of these. Go down the list of any of these guys. I don't feel comfortable picking in the top 50 for sure. So I'm thinking interior is what I'm thinking here. So I'm going to go with Big Citrus, Dominique Orange. Dolphins at number 43. Let's give them a type of receiver they don't have. You have Waddle, you have Malik Washington. Let's go Chris Bell. Big, super athletic receiver. Just get him the football in his hands. Let him go make a play. ACL obviously is a thing. He's not going to, there's no testing, there's no pro day, there's no nothing for him. probably no training camp. So it's tough. I think Chris Bell would have definitely been a first-round pick if it wasn't for that. So you could be drafting a first-round type of player at pick 43. Dolphins. Jets at 44. We go quarterback, we go receiver, and we go corner. Not receiver. Sorry, tripping. Quarterback, defensive line, and cornerback. Which makes me want to draft a receiver. So you have Adonai Mitchell, John Mechie, and Garrett Wilson as your trio. I'm going to go with Omar Cooper. Great ability after the catch, especially breaking tackles. 4-year guy at Indiana, that's loyalty. And you need someone that you come to the Jets who knows about losing. And Omar Cooper knows about losing. He knows about winning. So, good. And at Ravens, I mean, he could have been the pick. I hate the slide. And because, again, he's such a talented player. But Akeem Mesidor being 26, it could happen. He could slide this far. But him and Bain, the best pass rushing duo in the league or in college football, he legitimately has a case, Akeem Mesidor, to go at pick number 15. And he slides here to 45. Buccaneers, who do we go with? We went with TJ Parker. I'll go with Brandon Cisse. He's probably the number one player I would have on my board at this point with the guys left on. Yeah. Colts need linebacker help. Definitely. They need interior help so badly, too. But it's really, we're just going Dante Corleone, the Godfather, as the really only guy I would think about drafting here in the interior. I have a fun pick. I'm going to go Trinidad Tambus. You have Anthony Richardson. You clearly, I mean, maybe they give him the reins again. I don't know, though. You can't be so sure. And Daniel Jones is off an Achilles and a free agent. Are you going to sign Daniel Jones back? Is anybody? Well, somebody will, but are we signing Daniel Jones back to be a starting quarterback? I don't know. Are we going to run it back? I know you had so much success. Daniel Jones playing like an MVP candidate. You're 8-2, and then it falls off the rails. So if Daniel Jones isn't coming back, you don't want to go Anthony Richardson again. Do you really want to go in the free agent market and get a guy like a Malik Willis or an older veteran guy who, doesn't have that much upside and just hope? Or do you want to go Trinidad Chambliss, who you can have a huge competition with him in AR, and best man wins, and you could have a really good starting quarterback? It's an interesting thought. And when you don't have a first-round pick and your team outside of quarterback is pretty nice too, that you really need a hammer-down quarterback. And I know Trinidad's undersized, but he's a playmaker. Falcons at 48. They need receiver really badly. Drake London, Darnell Mooney, but not a whole lot. Tight end could be in need if Kyle Pitts leaves, which I actually think he probably will, but he hasn't left yet, so I'm not going to super bank on it. Corner, I'm going to go receiver. Which guy do I want to take, though? I'll go Jeremy Bernard. He doesn't do anything like exceptionally well, but he's a good player. Solid hands, solid, just solid at everything. Just nice wide receiver too for the Falcons. Vikings at 49. Thinking safety or running back. Jadarian Price, Jonah Coleman are the running backs I'm thinking of, or I'm thinking of safety. I'm going to go AJ Halsey. Lions at 50. Who did we go with? That's right, we went with Keldric Faulk. Center, yeah. I think I feel comfortable taking Connor Lew here at 50. I'm very surprised Connor Lew declared with him tearing his ACL. Is he a true junior? Yeah, he was. True junior, torn ACL. A little surprising, but he's in this draft. He's center one, most likely. 51 Panthers, we went with Kaden McDonald. Oh, CJ. One, I'd be pretty shocked if CJ Allen made it to 51 anyway. But linebacker's their biggest need, probably. And to get a borderline first-round linebacker at 51 is tremendous value. And Kenny McDonald and CJ Allen is a hell of a draft haul for the Panthers. Packers at 52. Packers first time. Good go corner. Do we even have any good... Who's available in the cornerback room? Keontae. Ooh. I do like Keontae Scott. Defensive tackle, Corione. Not thinking about tackling. I heard they really need to help their interior. I'm going to go with the Godfather here at 52. 50. I already know who I want to draft here. 100%. Let's go Keontae Scott and put him in the slot. He's such a Steeler. That whole... He really embodies a Steeler. He's going to play slot corner. We'll move Jalen Ramsey elsewhere. Maybe safety. But this feels like a patch made in heaven. I really like this pick. Eagles, we went Sadiq. I'm going to go Dylan Thiedemann. And no, I'm not doing it because he's white. Even though I kind of am. Yeah, I'm going to draft Dylan Thiedemann to play maybe the slot corner for me. Or for me, not for me, but for the Eagles. That'll be hilarious. That'll be my favorite pick if Thiedemann goes and they have 2 white DBs. 3 white DBs. Incredible. Chargers, we could double dip on the offensive line for sure. And honestly, I don't really want to take a defensive tackle here, so I am fine with double dipping. And I'm going to go with the Senior Bowl riser, maybe, again, probably closer to a round 3 pick. Sam had a hell of a Senior Bowl. So it's the Senior Bowl mock draft. I want to spotlight Senior Bowl guys, so spotlight Sam had. Jaguars at 56. Also, a team that hasn't picked in the first round, or doesn't pick in the first round. It's a lot. Anthony Hill still here. Mason Thomas, but gotta be Eli Sowers. 100%. I was thinking him. I was also thinking, oh, damn, we actually took all the safeties. So I wasn't thinking safety. Maybe Kamari Ramsey I would have thought about. Then who else did I want to think about? That's actually, it would have been him or Ramsey. So Eli Sowers. Bears, who did we draft? We picked Lee Hunter round 1. That's right. Oh, Anthony Hill. 100%. Did he start 3 years at Texas? Yeah. Yeah, 3-year starter at Texas. Now going to the Bears. 49, we got the 45, 49, 58. How does one mix up 49 and 58? I don't know. They both, if you add the numbers, they both equal to 13, I guess. Anyway, safety. We drafted safety round 1. Could use help at receiver. I think I know who would take a receiver, and that would be Skylar Bell. Or another edge, Mason Thomas falls. Not a guard. Who do I have left at the offensive line? I don't even know. Tiernan. Parker. I'm going to go with Skylar Bell here from UConn. Pearsall was hurt a lot this year, and they really don't have... Brandon Ayuk, I don't even know if he's going to play in the NFL anymore. So receiver instantly has sadly become a big need for the Niners. Deebo Samuel left a couple years ago too. Texans, we went 2 offensive linemen. So let's go and let's get a compliment to Woody Marks, or maybe even a guy who can start over Woody Marks. That is Jonah Coleman from Washington. 60, we have the Bills. Who do we pick? We went, this is easy. Just get a guy who can get after the pass rusher. And that is, get after the pass rusher. Get after the passer. And that is R. Mason Thomas. He's the biggest faller here we had by far. And he finally gets picked up at 60. Rams, we got Abney and we went Mauigoa. Not going to pick a quarterback here. No, I would have thought about Chambliss. He fell, but he gets picked up by Colts. Could think receiver. Zachariah Branch is just a player. He's a super athlete. And then he produced this year too at Georgia. Devontae Adams, while great, is a little older. And they don't have like a tremendous amount of needs. Maybe edge rusher. They can go another edge for that second line. They go Zachariah Branch here. Just as another playmaker if it ever wants to pick him. And that's good. Maybe. It doesn't like my pick. Oh, there we go. All right, Broncos here at 62. This is what I want to get tight end out of the way. Or linebacker. Who do we pick? We jumped on corner early. That's right. Josiah Trotter. Actually, is probably going to be the pick. Who's available at tight end? Trigg, maybe. Yeah, no. It's 100% linebacker. It's 100% going to be Josiah Trotter. Pats at 63. We went with Ihanator. We need to get them an edge rusher. And you know who can get after the passer? It's Romello Height. A little smaller, but they just need guys. They need pass rush help for sure. And then the Seahawks, the last pick. Who are guys? Zion Young falling. I like Zion Young a lot. He actually could be the pick here. Who did I pick? Did I go guard? I did. I went Kayden Proctor. Corner. Could go Pons here. Could go Chris Johnson. Edge isn't a tremendous need, but I really do like Zion Young, and I want to get him in this draft. I'm gonna go Zion Young. Yeah. All right. So that is recap of the first round. That's my 2-round NFL mock draft. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you want.